Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravijacharya Story Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravijacharya Story Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Naam Acharya Sahidas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadara Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kun Radhikun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Navadip Dham Ki Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Tulasi Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, text number 51. We'll do the word. Okay. Shama Shroni Adi Rochishnu Dukala Swarna Mekalam Sa Ma Charu Angri Janga Uru Nimna Janu Sudarshanam Shamashtoni Adirochishnu Shamashtoni Adirochishnu Dukalasvarnamekalam. Dukalasvarnamekalam. Shamacharvangri Janguiru. Shamacharvangri Janguiru. Nimna Janu Sudarshanam. Shamashtoni Adirochishnu. Dukalasvarnamekalam. Shamacharvangri Janguru. Nimna Janu Sudarshanam. Shamashroni Adirochishnu. Dukalasvarnamekalam. Samacharvangri Janguru. Nimna Janu Sudarshanam. Samacharvangri Janguru. Nimna Janu Sudarshanam. Okay, word for word. Shama, blackish. Shroni, lower part of the waist. Adi, extra. Rochishnu, pleasing. Dukala, garments. Swarna, golden. Mekalam, belt. Sama, symmetrical. Charu, beautiful. Angry, what's the lot? Mine's is okay. Angry, lotus feet, mine is cut off. Lotus feet. Janga, calves. Uru, thighs. Nimna, lower. Janu, knees. Sudarshanam, very beautiful. So the translation: the lower parts of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments, and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful. Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Shiva is one of the 12 great authorities mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Text 20. These authorities are Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali, and Vyasaka or Sukadev Goswami and Yamaraj. The impersonalists who generally worship Lord Shiva should learn of the transcendental Sachitananda Vigraha of the Lord. Here Lord Shiva kindly describes the details of the Lord's bodily features. Thus the impersonalist argument that the Lord has no form cannot be accepted under any circumstance. Translation again: the lower parts of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments, and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful. Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. So, this verse, and unpacking the purport, the main points we will discuss. And the first theme is that Lord Shiva as the greatest Mahajan. Well, as one of the 12 Mahajans. And they have good understanding or perfect, they are the perfect authorities on bhakti. Prabhupada quotes the 6th canto, the 3rd chapter, text 20, where it mentions the 12 authorities. So therefore Lord Shiva is acknowledged as a great authority or a perfectly realized devotee and teacher of spiritual knowledge according to the Bhagavatam. It's mentioned there, Shambhu, one of the 12 authorities. The authorities are very important, especially in terms of scripture, because one cannot understand, spiritual knowledge or dharma by mental speculation, by speculation. And he quotes that again in the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not mentioned in the verse, in the 6th canto, chapter 3, text 19, that dharmasya tattva nihitam guyam. This cannot be understood, just by speculation. But one has to get the understanding from the Mahajans. And sometimes you find that the Mahajans will be just giving very basic knowledge according to the audience. And sometimes people get tired of the basic knowledge also. It's very, they get tired. They can't hear it. But Lord Shiva's position as a Vaishnava, though often, worshipped by impersonalists, still Lord Shiva is mentioned in the scriptures as the topmost Vaishnava. Now don't get this wrong, the topmost Vaishnava in the sense of the material realm. But there are higher personalities that are greater than Lord Shiva, like Radharani, the gopis, the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls. And but Lord Shiva is not an impersonalist. And we see from the description of this, he's giving about the Lord, implies that he's fully devoted to the form of the Supreme Lord. He's fully devoted. And he's giving, descriptions of the Lord features. So we can accept that as reliable information, the reason being it is coming from a pure devotee. So therefore pure devotees are necessary, in the movement, and the acharyas are pure devotees. So when anybody is speaking, they should be confirming their information against these pure devotees or the Mahajans. So the impersonalist misunderstanding of Lord Shiva. And impersonalists generally worship Lord Shiva, but they misunderstand his teachings. So the impersonalists, they want to achieve liberation, but they ignore the devotional aspect of Vishnu. And Srila Prabhupada often quotes in his purports, like Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many purports that impersonalists misinterpret the Vedic literature. So they misinterpret it and then they dismiss the form of the Lord. Like looking at Krishna is so beautiful. I just come from Vrindavan and looking at, this form of Krishna, and it's mentioned that Shyam, the first word, Shyam, that blackish form of Krishna, so beautiful, so attractive. Radha, Krishna, Lalita, Vishaka, very attractive features of the Lord. And we will look at them for so long and with so much of devotion. Although we are, neophytes, but we attracted. We're attracted to the form of the Lord. So So Lord Shiva, he describes the form of the Lord, which is also described in the Brahma Samhita as Sachitananda Vigraha. It's eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And Lord Shiva affirms this, confirming what Brahma is spoken in the Brahma Samhita. And we'll read some of the verses, the descriptions given in the Brahma Samhita. So Lord, the Lord's form is transcendental, it's eternal. His limbs, his beauty, his bodily features. And these descriptions are very accurately given. A material form cannot be described with such precision, and transcendental beauty. It's very, very nicely described by the Acharyas. Like when you look the form of Radha Raman, and Radha Raman is a deity in Vrindavan, very beautiful form of Krishna. It's self-manifested, but it is so perfect with precision. It's so perfect because it's just self-manifested. So there's so many, so much in the Bhagavatam, so much in the scriptures that speak about the form of the Lord as opposed to the impersonalist version of the Lord, where he has no form. So just for argument's sake, if I say you have a relationship with a female, but she has no form, it's not possible. As soon as you're thinking of the female, you're thinking of the form. So the Lord, the impersonalist, the theme that in the purport that's running is the refutation of the impersonalist argument. Is refuting it. The Lord has no form. And, because we identify with the material energy so much, and the material energy is so close to the Lord, because everything is coming from Krishna, that we cannot see that form of the Lord. We take it as material, because we're coming from the material world. But the Lord's form cannot be imaginary or material, it's spiritual. Like if a young child walk in, you ask him, where is Krishna? He'll say, oh, where is in the altar there? Can't you see? He's innocent. But if you ask, like some grown-ups, they'll think about it because they don't accept that, because they're very much in the material world and very contaminated with materialism that they cannot see the form of the Lord. It's quite true. It's very difficult. And the impersonalists argue that the Lord is Nirakara. Nirakara means formless. But in the Vedic context, Nirakara means not having a material form. But doesn't mean not having a form at all. And Srila Prabhupada, he consistently teaches that. And you find, sometime in his purport, he repeats these points. The Lord is eternal, spiritual, impersonal, is incomplete and offensive. And he speaks very heavily on this point. And you would wonder why. Because many of us are in that category of impersonalism. So he has to hammer it home. And he keeps speaking that. And you say, I'm not like that. But when you hear if you heard music in the 60s and 70s, you'll find a lot of the music, there's impersonalism. Or the idea that, I think the Beatles, they also sing about me and you are one, so you and I are one. So the thing is, we have to be careful, because therefore Prabhupada is hammering this point. So Lord Shiva, out of his kindness, he's revealing the Lord form to this conditioned soul in this song. And he's describing the form out of his mercy, so the mind can be purified by hearing. And we'll talk about hearing. So this is the part of the Bhakti Yoga process. Hearing, remembering, meditating on the Lord's form. And Srimad Bhagavatam emphasized, the meditation begins on the lotus feet of the Lord, and gradually it goes upwards, where you fix your mind in the form of the Lord. And the authority of scriptural vision over mental speculation, we mentioned that. The knowledge of the Lord's form must come from the Shastra, must come from the scriptures. You can't just concoct some form of the Lord or the Mahajans, not by speculation. Not by speculation. So therefore it's imperative that we approach a person like Lord Shiva and not an impersonalist philosopher. And mental speculation cannot reveal the Lord. He reveals himself. Shri Shri Radha Raghunath ki jai. Thus Lord Shiva's description defeat the impersonalist philosophy. So this song here is showing that how impersonalist philosophy, which is sung by Lord Shiva, is not something that recommended for us to do, but we should follow the scriptures and meditate on the spiritual form of the Lord. Now, in the scriptures it's mentioned that we have to do it 24 hours a day when you talk about chanting and hearing. Now, in Rupa Goswami's book, Nectar of Instruction, in text 8, he says, the essence of all advice is one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastime, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Goloka, Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. It's a very beautiful verse in the Nectar of Instruction that we have to absorb ourselves. Nicely chanting, and we'll discuss about nicely chanting, and fix our mind. This is what it's about, fixing your mind. And in the purport to that verse, Rupa Goswami talks about, Prabhupada puts in the purport about the mind. He discusses the importance of the mind, how the mind is a best friend and one's worst enemy, and how crucial it is, how important it is, how crucial it is to remember Krishna at the time of death. Because if one thinks of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna, then he can enter the pastimes of Krishna. So we should practice how to enter Goloka Vrindavan. My question is, how many of you would like to go to Goloka Vrindavan? Anybody? All of you? Good. But we have to work at it. We have to work at it. Therefore, Rupa Goswami is advising to train our minds to remember. Because the tongue should be used for speaking about Krishna and tasting Krishna prasadam. And then we get into a discussion of how do we train our mind. So then the understanding is about sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti. So we are in the process of doing sadhana bhakti. Like we're running around, we'll take the flower petals out of Prabhupada, we'll set the chairs, throw some mats here and there. All that we do, those are sadhana bhakti. We're chanting Hare Krishna, sadhana bhakti. But we have to come to that next level, that Raghunath platform. And when you come to that platform, then you can go to Goloka Vrindavan. It's something that we really don't talk about, like Raghunath platform. So sadhana bhakti is like, we'll describe it as like arranged marriage is sadhana bhakti. And love marriage is Raghunath bhakti, where it's spontaneous. Get it? So the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Goswami is saying us how to take to this Krishna consciousness deeply, training our mind, controlling our mind and perfecting it so that our mind is absorbed on the form of the Lord. There's a difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and Raghunath Bhakti. And the difference is what I said. The difference is that you follow all the rules and regulations in sadhana bhakti. You have to follow all the rules and regulations. And you are impelled to follow everything according to the scriptures. Like we are telling you to become fearless, you must become fearless at the time of death. And how do you become fearless? You should remember, glorify, and remember Krishna. Then you become fearless. But that's in the scripture. You're following the scripture. It's not out of spontaneity. Got it? Makes sense, right? But when you come to that second platform, it's very spontaneous. It's on another level. So that's the difference. Like we're telling you to get up in the morning, chant Hare Krishna and things like that. We're following the scriptures. But there comes a time when you have some point where you feel like just getting up early, like you get up at 1, 2 in the morning and you just start chanting. It's coming spontaneously now. It's no more an effort. Right there? Yeah, that's what you do. So like that. So there are so much to explain on that topic. But getting back to the chanting. So in the in different books there are mentioned about chanting on different levels. The one from the Gaura Govinda Charana Smarana Paditi, the mantra firmly situated in the mind. The mind firmly situated in the mantra. Such a seamless connection of the mind and mantra is a characteristic of ideal japa. Meaning your mind is absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. There's nothing else you're thinking of. So that level, so we can understand, what level we're meant to come to. So the mind, like the mantra, the verse says, the mantra should be situated firmly in the mind, not in the ears only. Not simply the ears. So when we are chanting like ordinary, we are sadhakas, we're using the tongue, the sound vibration, to travel to the pathways of the ears. Get it? So these sound vibrations are supposed to reach the destination. But where is the destination? It should go into the ears and go into the courtyard of the heart. That is the destination. And that's where the mind is situated. So it should be gone into the mind. So if the mind is absent, the sound vibration will not reach the destination. So you won't have that ideal japa. So it's quite a deep thing. It's not just like, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 and just running around. One has to absorb the mind. Just like Prabhupada says, simply chant and hear. Isn't it? You hear that? You simply chant and hear. And let's discuss that. So a devotee says, Prabhupada, when we first got to chant Hare Krishna, a way to concentrate is just to concentrate on the vibration. Should we try to strive for, and it's incomplete in the conversation, Prabhupada responds. He says, no, concentrate on the vibration. Simply hear. It is very easy. If I say Hare, you can hear. even without concentration. It is so easy. Devotee, but Prabhupada interjects and says, but if you hear attentively, that is required. So you may chant the mantra, you may hear it, but it's not attentive. And this was given at a talk on Bhagavad Gita on the 13th of January, 1969. He was telling these people who were just ordinary, just coming to the temple to chant very deeply. So the last statement that Prabhupada gives is very important. But if you attentively, that is required. Although he initially acknowledged that just, chanting without concentration, but he later emphasized that attentive hearing. And that's really ideal japa. But then the question may arise that how are we going to chant? Because if you chant, you must chant the mantra and you must absorb yourself in hearing the mantra. Hare Krishna. You have to absorb yourself hearing attentively. And, the mind should be disassociated from all other thoughts. But it's not so easy. We can try, to chant like that. One mantra with the tongue, the ears and mind centered only around that sound vibration. Hare Krishna. I'm not thinking of anything else. Hare Krishna. So when you do like this, you are training your mind. So the tongue acts as like the transmitter. The ears act as the pathway. And the mind is the receiver. It receives the mantra. So it goes down like that. And we should chant. This is ideal japa. But we don't, it's very difficult for us to come to that level, but we should aspire to come to that level. And then, we will somehow one day see the form of the Lord by our chanting. So the tongue, the ear and the mind, there's three things, like a tripod. So it gives that effect to the many mantras we chant every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So one, chant is 16 round, but gradually he'll come to that topmost level of hearing the mantra properly. There's Rupa Goswami. It's interesting, Rupa Goswami, well, I'll read something in the end to how he was connected to Lord Shiva. And he gave a description of the tongue, ear and mind in a verse called the Vidagdha Madhava. And it's a little different, the translation is a little different. I'll skip the Sanskrit. When the bisyllabic name Krishna enters the mouth, it dances around like an expert dancer and distributes pure love, so that it can get many more mouths as its reward. On entering the fertile ground of the ear holes, this name sprouts and replicates vigorously like the Kadamba Saka, thus generating the desire to have tens of millions of such ears for further replication. Finally, when it attains the touch of the courtyard of the mind, it conquers the activities of all other senses and reigns victorious. I do not know how many varieties of nectar have gone into the formation of this bisyllabic name, Krishna. This is from a book called Vidagdha Madhava. So, we can see that there are different levels. One is called, I will just describe one level, one of the three levels. Vachika, it means chanting audibly with clear pronunciation of all syllables and lips moving distinctly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then there's Upamsa Japa, muttering the mantra in such a way that it's audible to oneself. lips move slightly, very slightly. So you have to kind of bring it down now, from loud chanting to that. And then it's called manasika japa. Manasika japa means there's no verbal utterance of the mind. So it gradually comes down to you being totally absorbed. You're visualizing each syllable and each word as it's chanted, and that lips should not move at all. That's like the highest level. So the tongue, however, may be slightly inside the closed mouth as we chant mentally. That's why you have to come down a little bit and hear it. Hear the mantra, absorb yourself. And this is the perfection. This is the perfection of chanting. And if we come to this level, then by chanting Hare Krishna, you can see the form of the Lord. And when you reach perfection, the verse I read from Rupa Goswami, he talks about, you can be in this world and you can be having that exchange with Krishna on this material body, within this body. You'll be doing ordinary things like, moving around, doing things for Krishna. But internally you can be absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna. And that's possible. That's possible. But we have to learn to chant the holy names with great affection, great concentration. Like the Brahma Samhita has many verses, and I'll read some of the verses. There's descriptions of Krishna. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who's tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis and Gopis. Another verse, I worship Govinda, that primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. These are descriptions given. And one more. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in his pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shamasundra is eternally manifest. So these are descriptions of the Lord. And that's what Lord Shiva is saying in this verse, how beautiful the Lord is. With the garland and playing his flute and very attractive, sham color, blackish color, very beautiful. So you can be attracted to Krishna like that. But coming back to the Bhagavad Gita, not everybody will appreciate the form of the Lord. Like sometimes we say Krishna has a human-like form, and then we start thinking, oh, it's like me? Is he like me? Then we don't think he's the Lord. Avajananti mammuda. Fools deride me when I descend in this human form. Avajananti mammuda. So, in the 7th chapter, text 24 of the Bhagavad Gita, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before, and now have assumed this personality. And due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So it's very difficult sometimes for people. We say, oh, Krishna is in the altar. No. They can't accept that. And Prabhupada in that purport speaks, he gives many points about impersonalists, worship of devatas, and they are considered to be less intelligent. But don't tell them that they'll get upset. Just say, okay, you're on that level, it's okay. But slowly bring them to that higher level. Those with, abudaya means those without spiritual intelligence. Although here Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, but still impersonal will deny this form of Krishna. And this reveals their deep ignorance, that they don't accept that. But you have to understand that many people are ignorant, so we want them to be educated. So we don't minimize their position, but we gradually bring them up to a higher level. So Yamuna Acharya in that purport says that the pure devotees like Vyasudev, Narada can understand Krishna, but those who are in passion and ignorance cannot. And sometimes people are very elevated or eloquent in understanding the Vedanta and the Upanishads and the scriptures, but they cannot reveal Krishna without devotion. Only by Krishna's mercy you can understand his personal form. And then we read those verses from the Brahma Samhita. The different features of the absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, which we have discussed many times. So people are misguided because of following Sankaracharya, but Sankaracharya, he accepted Govinda as the supreme person. And one has to engage in devotional service and understand the Supreme Lord. There's many points in that purport which I cannot discuss. And then when one have that thorough understanding, one can go back to Godhead by following the process of sadhana bhakti, which leads to Raghunath bhakti, and you can go to Goloka Vrindavan. There's a lot to learn about entering the spiritual realm of Goloka Vrindavan. But there's a nice verse in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, text 65. Yasyananam makara kundala charukarna brajat kapalo subagam savilasahasam nityo savam natatpudrishabi pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. It's a very beautiful verse. I have it on my bedside. Very beautiful verse. And this gives a description of Krishna, which kind of give a more deeper understanding of the beauty of Krishna, as Lord Shiva described it. It's beautiful, but this gives a more beautiful description. And I'll read the translation. Krishna's face is decorated with ornament such as earring resembling sharks. You have like a shark. Beautiful. His ears are beautiful. His cheeks brilliant. And he's smiling, attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. So meaning when you see his face, you see a festival. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see. But the devotees are angry at the Creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of their eyes. How's that description? When your eyes close, you can't see Krishna. His face and body are fully satisfying to everyone. His smiling is so attractive. Krishna's teeth when he's young, it's very tiny. It looks like pomegranate seeds. So beautiful. Very beautiful. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks, he writes on the Bhagavad Gita that, it's not easy just to understand Krishna. Manasyusu sak, I forget the verse. Anyway, he speaks about that not many people will understand Krishna in full. So here we find that looking at Krishna's face is a daily festival. And they were, the cowherd girls, they were never satisfied. They were always wanting more and more. The cowherd boys. As they see Krishna's face, the love increases. The love increases. And then they think of Krishna, that when he's walking in the forest, his soft lotus feet is being pained by the rough stones and sand. It's like prick him. And then the gopis think, well, their breasts are not soft enough to serve as cushions for his feet. It's a very good description. Because they feel it's not soft enough for Krishna's feet. It's so like tender and beautiful and pink. So, the gopis are crying, for Krishna, discomfort. So this is the height of purity of love or prema. So their love was very intense. But then they were now blaming the creator Brahma for an obstacle because their eyes are blinking. And during that blink, they cannot see Krishna. So it was a good criticism. That's a good criticism, a constructive criticism. There's so much to speak on just that. But we can understand the supreme destination, the supreme position, of Lord Krishna, and the beauty of Krishna has to be gotten from the acharyas. So before I could come here, I was just reading, interestingly, how sometimes Lord Shiva can become your spiritual master, and in the essence, and in the sense of mainly thinking of Rupa Goswami. So in the Lalita Madhava and the Vidagdha Madhava, which is like the two important works it deals with the important work of Rupa Goswami, but it deals with the intimate pastimes of Lord Shiva. Rupa Goswami wrote many books. And Rupa Goswami has revealed that Lord Shiva appeared to him to write these two dramas. This is Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, these two dramas. And I'll read the English translation. Lord Shiva, who is crowned with the half moon and who is famous as the master of the gopis, appeared to me in a dream and ordered me to write this play. And the second one in the Vidagdha Madhava, O Rupa Goswami, please protect the devotees by giving them a little of the nectar river of Lord Mukunda's pastimes. My mercy will give you the power to do this. In this way, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the universe, spoke. I will now obey his order. So this is how he wrote these two very important books describing the pastimes of Krishna, Rupa Goswami, on the instruction of Lord Shiva. So we'll stop here. We'll just take a few questions. Hare Krishna. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, could you please elaborate on the difference between Gokul and Goloka Vrindavan?
Oh, Gokul. Gokul is, when you go to Vrindavan, there's a place where Krishna took birth. That place is still there, but the one part of the structure still left. That's Gokul. But Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual realm. But in one sense, there's no difference between that and what's happening here. It's the same. When we go to Vrindavan, the Vrindavan is a replica of Goloka Vrindavan. It's the same. The way Prabhupada wrote it, and I was quite impressed that he wrote it in the purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the 70s, when faxes were not available at that time. It was like telex at that time. And he says it's like facsimiles of the spiritual world. It's the same. But the difference is that this Vrindavan, you can go with this material body. But there in Gokul or Goloka Vrindavan, you can't go with this body. That's the difference. And there are some differences, like Krishna kills Putana in Gokul. Krishna kills Putana in Gokul, but there Krishna is in Goloka is not killing demons. He appears, like that. It's not killing demons. So there are differences like that, but in essence, we cannot enter Goloka with a material body, but we can enter Gokul. We can enter Gokul. But, Krishna takes birth, in Goloka Vrindavan, there's no, Krishna is not taking birth like that. But that birth pastimes are taken in this Vrindavan. So there are some subtle differences, but overall, the way Prabhupada says it, when the Supreme Lord appears, the spiritual world also comes with him. Everybody comes with him. It's like that. So, but there's really, these are the subtle differences. Is it okay?
Yep. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Isaiah Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So how does one behave if they are on the spontaneous platform?
Very good question. Yeah.
How can we tell, or can we? Hare Krishna.
A very good question. Thank you for that, Isaiah Prabhu. It's a very good question. How can we behave on the spontaneous platform? So Rupa Goswami says that, that internally you experience the pastimes, but outside you will be doing watering tulsi, bringing tulsi, putting the skirt. Externally you're doing that. If somebody moves onto that level on the higher platforms of Raganuga Bhakti, and then externally he's doing everything, like he'll do the arti. But simultaneously he's experiencing those pastimes in the spiritual world. You get it? But he behaves like an ordinary person. Therefore, a person who is on the Raghunaga platform will not ask you, it's not like he'll tell you, I'm on the Raghunaga platform. He won't tell you that. That's how you know he's genuine. Like we're not on that platform, so we know we can tell you that. But the point is that somebody is on that platform will not say you that. Because somebody asked me a question once, I was doing a program, and he was saying that, he's the Rasa Leela, and, they're playing the flute and hearing the flute of Krishna. But that is on a higher platform, because if you experience that, you will not talk about it, because it's very intimate. So internally you experience it, and externally you just do everything. You observe Ekadasi, you break fast, you do everything normal. But internally you're experiencing these pastimes. And there's one pastime of Raghunath Das Goswami. He's like a Nitya Siddha devotee, and a very elevated devotee. And in the spiritual world, he's considered to be a Manjari. A Manjari is like a young, tender, virgin girl, very young, about 12, 13 years or 14 years of age, that's assisting in the pastimes. So he's in that position, So he was, and he only drank a cup of buttermilk. It's just one cup. Just one cup of buttermilk. He would drink. And that was his meal. That's what he did. But he would be absorbed, paying obeisances to the devotees, doing Dandavat Parikram around Radha Kund. He'll be doing all these things like normal. But then he would take this one cup buttermilk. So one day he was meant to give a class, or give a katha. And he couldn't make it because he was feeling sick. And then the devotees were knocking the door, he wouldn't come out. So then they went in and they saw he was ill. And then they got a Kaviraj, a Ayurvedic doctor. And the doctor said he felt, doctors, the Ayurvedic doctor, they feel your pulse and they'll tell you what the problem is. You don't have to tell them. So he said no, because he's got like a constipated stomach. Because it seems like he ate too much. So that couldn't, the devotees couldn't reconcile that. So then Raghunath Das Goswami said, well, it's true. Yesterday there was a festival in the spiritual world. I just had too much of the sweet preparations. You get it? So he kind of reconciled it. One more question? Okay, yeah, one more. Okay.
But then he kind of revealed it.
Yes. Otherwise we would not know that is possible. So that example makes it possible. That's why I said it.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Jai Sachinanda want to say something, yeah. Vidyapati wants to have sweet rice now.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Raghunath, for taking my slot.
No, thank you for engaging me.
Very nice. You did a very good job. Coming back to his question, same time, like we can't prematurely imitate those on that level. Like Raghunath, if somebody is still on the lower levels, they cannot prematurely imitate.
Correct.
And probably use the word saja, taking the process very cheaply. So, and this is very common. You'll see that sometimes. Even in Prabhupada's time, the devotees saw some persons come and they fell on the floor like unconscious. And then the devotees went to Prabhupada and said, this is exhibiting some symptoms of bhav or ecstasy. And Prabhupada said, kick him and see, give him a kick and see if he gets up, if he's not pretending.
Yeah.
So we have to be very cautious of that mentality of imitating those on that level. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Jai Prabhu. Thank you for that. And the thing is that Srila Prabhupada, yes, he kind of, cautioned the devotees not to get deeper into the Krishna Leela, the pastimes of Ras Leela and these 5 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, he did that, and because devotees were kind of honing into that. So they weren't following the process, they already were jumping the process, were moving into just following those aspects. But that only happens on the level of Raganuga Bhakti, where the person focuses on that particular aspect that he covers, that is favorable for his devotional practice. So a Vaidhi Bhakti, a person on Vaidhi Bhakti, he follows all the rules and regulations, sadhana bhakti. But the person in Raganuga Bhakti hones on only to those aspects that, where he's engaging with Krishna in his spiritual form, not everything. That's the difference. But to enter Goloka Vrindavan, that is required. That is definitely required, and to enter Goloka Vrindavan. So the Prabhupada, he cautioned them. It doesn't mean, you mustn't end, because it's described by the acharyas. All these different levels of Krishna consciousness is described. So at some point, one will, reach that stage. But he doesn't go advertise it. He just does it quietly, and he follows the regular process in the temple. He doesn't, go and, advertise, we are discussing Radha Krishna's pastime. No. It just happened with more mature devotees like that. So when on mature, that's possible. Because there's a conversation between Satsvarup and Prabhupada, and Satsvarup is saying, they're talking about, where Krishna, where Prabhupada is writing in the Krishna book about some intimate, Krishna kissing the gopis and things like that. He said that I should write because it's there. But then it came up that the gopis cannot be boycotted. You can't just boycott them. You have to also know about them. So they are higher devotees than Lord Shiva. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.